starting to get curious, are we?
Are we? So this is a video for people who are starting to get curious about sex.
Yeah.
Which is a very, very curious thing if you've never had a go at it.
Yeah.
I remember being so obsessed with sex before I had sex.
Me too.
Obsessed.
I was so frustrated for so long.
Yeah. I
Like years. It felt like years.
Yeah, and you'd literally be like looking at everything to do with sex, watching porn all the time. Well,
Yeah.
I was watching porn all the time and on a family computer and not knowing how to delete history. Whew, it's bad times. When you finally do the deed, I really stand by the fact that it doesn't matter what age you are when you have sex, as long as you personally feel ready. You could be 14, and if you are sure that you feel ready, then go for it. But don't let anyone ever push you into doing it when you don't want to.
No, you always have to be ready, because it's a life-changing event.
You always remember it.
Yeah, you'll always remember it, and you kind of feel different afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, I certainly did.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
Welcome to the world, Florence.
I'm a woman now.
Yeah.
I remember like going to school like, oh yeah. So
you
excited.
just kind of feel like better than, like, you're like, yeah, I'm like on a higher plane now. I'm not a virgin anymore.
And when did you have sex the first time?
When I was 15.
Was that with a boyfriend or was that with like a random?
Yeah, it was with a boyfriend who I had actually been with, I think, for 6 months before we did anything.
It's quite long.
We had done we did a lot of dry humping.
Dry humping
and,
at Old Chestnut.
Orals. And I was so frustrated there, and I guess as a young girl as well, it's quite hard to initiate that sort of thing. Like, you both need to be initiating at that sort of stage.
I have to tell you my story afterwards.
Yeah, we tried to do it. I think it was maybe a month before it actually happened. I think my parents were out, so we were just
the
in my room. We'd got the condoms ready, and it was a bit of an event. We were both sober.
You prepare for it, yeah.
Yeah. And we were so are we gonna do this or not? So we sort of...
Did he lose his virginity with you? Or
Yeah, we were both virgins.
Ah, interesting.
So, yeah, but not the best mix ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so the first time he just couldn't get it up. And I was just why? What's happening? Just wanted to get it. Just really, really, really wanted it.
Yeah, I mean, before you lose your virginity, you don't even think that a dick could be soft. You just assume that it will be hard.
Yeah, it's why isn't it working?
And obviously, dicks are hard and soft all the bleeding time.
He was just he said to me, he said, oh, you had some, because I had really long hair back then. He was you had some of your hair wrapped around your neck and you looked like a dominatrix, and it was really scaring me. And I
what a fucking pussy, I swear to God.
It's what?
What? That's the reason? Really? Okay. I mean, it just sounded like he was really nervous that he had to make up an excuse.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Bless him.
And then a month later, my parents went away again for the weekend. So we had the whole house to ourselves, and we actually did it. Yeah, it was actually really painful for me.
Yeah.
It was weird because we had it in the bed. It was painful, and it sort of just happened.
Oh shit, really? Yeah. Slipped in, oh fuck, this is happening now.
Well, no, we had prepared for it again.
Okay. It's another candlelit evening.
Yeah, it wasn't even in the night, it was in the daytime.
Oh.
So it was lots of real light in my bedroom. And then afterwards we had a really romantic shower together, and I think it was the best romantic shower I've ever had, actually.
It's really lovely.
I think we had sex again in the shower.
Well, once you sort of break the seal, you're fuck it, let's keep doing this. And even though it hurts, or it's uncomfortable the first time, you know that if you push past the uncomfortableness, it will turn into pleasure. You know that, and it's still it is pleasurable.
Yeah.
but you're trying to get used to the pleasure and understand the feelings and
obviously it's very unused down there, so it's very tight and needs to be opened up a bit.
like
And
a lot of
he wasn't like the
foreplay.
smallest guy ever either. So yeah, I just remember I stayed at his the same night, and I walked his by myself, and I just remember walking down the road like yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I couldn't wait to tell
like,
people.
So happy.
Yeah.
So happy.
So I was one of the last girls in my group to have sex, even though I was like the open sexual one that always talked about sex, and everyone's like, Reed's gonna lose it first, but no, I definitely lost it last. And mine was like a couple of months before my 18th, and I remember being like, there is no way I'm going to be 18 and lose my virginity at 18. I have to be 17. And I basically forced it upon my boyfriend. Pretty badly as well, because we had talked about it a lot, and it was 4 months into the relationship. And I knew that I was ready. I mean, I was ready before him. It's just I didn't have a boyfriend before. I was fucking ready, I would have said. And it got to the point where he was putting it off, and he did have a really bad losing his... He had sex before, even though I know that he had like quite a few self-confidence issues, and he said that he had quite a bad experience and was actually sick the first time he lost his virginity. So I knew that he was pretty unconfident when it came to sex in his body, and I was trying really hard not to push him, but I did end up pushing him, because it got to the point where I was like, if this doesn't happen now, it's never going to happen. I actually, I wasn't in any pain the first time I lost my virginity, but I knew that I had lost my hymen months and months before, if not maybe even years before. It was before I even started my period. I went on like a kind of camping trip with my school, and I don't know how I lost it. It must have been like after a walk or after we were canoeing. I'm sure it was after we were canoeing. And I went to the toilet and there was blood in my knickers, and I was like, oh, I'm starting my period. And I didn't start my period, so that's the only way I think.
I didn't bleed when I lost my virginity.
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy to lose a hymen. You can lose a hymen walking or bike riding or anything. It depends on how thick the skin is.
I feel like I never had one because I don't remember anything.
And plus, I was fucking fingering myself when I was really young. I'm sure I would have felt a hymen.
Yeah, I masturbated for a long time before having sex.
Like 3 times a day, all the time.
Since I was like maybe 10 or younger.
Yeah, I honestly think I was younger. I remember like the first time I had my orgasm, like very first orgasm. Yeah, and so we had planned up to it. We had been doing all the other stuff, and again, I wasn't really confident. Like I even remember not having sex for the first time with my bra on, because for some reason I was completely confident about my vagina, but not my breasts. I really didn't like my boobs at all. And even before having sex, I remember completely being shaved, and keeping it shaved.
Really?
Yeah.
I was so puby. Like, I had the hairiest vagina ever.
No, I definitely got on top the first time I had sex, because I was like, all right. Like I said, it didn't hurt. It felt uncomfortable. If you think about...
That's really quite a big step.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised, but I thought it was going to hurt a lot more. Yeah. I anticipated it. And then obviously, he wasn't doing the best job because he was being quite nervous. And I just really, really wanted to just
take control
and have fun with it.
Yeah.
And it was when the parents were out, and that's another annoying thing with virginity. It's like you have to wait for your parents to leave your home. There's nowhere that you can have sex, or you do it at a house party or at a friend's house or something. Or you have to plan it.
Yeah.
And then the anticipation can build so much.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Especially for guys, I think that makes it even more nerve-wracking and must do.
Yeah. But after that, you're right, I did feel different. I was like, this is a new step. This is a new chapter in my life.
Yeah, it's a new me.
And I actually thought that losing my virginity would make me into a bit of a cock-loving slut, if I'm honest with you. But my first boyfriend lasted for 2 years, and after that I was like, yeah, now's the time I can sleep around. Yeah. And then I fell into another 2-year relationship, and so over the span of, I think it was like 4 or 5 years, I only had slept with 2 people. And then by the time I was at uni, it got to the end of uni, for goodness sake, and I was like, well, I've only slept with 2 blokes and I'm coming to the end of uni. And I tried sleeping with people in uni and I just couldn't do it, couldn't bring myself to do it. I slept with 1 person at uni.
The other weird thing about that relationship was that the only time that we ever had sex, that whole relationship, which lasted 11 months,
Yeah.
was that one weekend.
Really? So why then?
I don't know. Like, I really wanted it. I was like, I wanted it again and again. But he just wasn't
into it.
No, it was weird. It's just that it would never progress. And I was quite like a shy person. I just didn't have the balls to do it myself.
Yeah. You're like, fuck me!
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, yeah.
Yeah, that is really weird.
I actually had a conversation with him like maybe a year afterwards. Like, so why didn't we have sex that much? And he was like, I thought you weren't into it. I was like, are you kidding me? Like,
it's bullshit, mate.
Nah.
Someone
knew I was into it.
You have to be pretty fucking stupid not to read the signs of, like, you know, it's when girls do the thing where they stretch on the bed and they arch their back and they're like, oh, I'm so tired, or I just don't know, I'm so horny. Take that as a sign, like, or if they're naked at all, fuck 'em. Just have lots of lovely sex.
Never deprive a woman of sex if she needs it.
And if you are depriving, you're with the wrong woman. You need to be with someone you want to fuck all the goddamn time.
Yeah.
But then there are, you know, for the girls out there who are really, really conscious about having sex and they're not so confident, it's not something that can come just like that. It's a definite, you really have to build on yourself and getting naked. I mean, it took me so long to take off a bra and to actually accept my boobs for what they were. I mean, I loved my vagina, although I definitely remember the first time I shaved, and that was weird. I was like, what is that? Oh shit, there's a dimple.
Yeah, I was like so like, I just thought my vagina was gross. So I was just like, what is this?
That's no good at all.
This is disgusting. Like, I just didn't.
What is this?
Like, covered in pubes. It was just like, why do we have this gross thing between our legs? Like, I always thought, like, guys, like, a cock is so much easier to deal with than a weird hole.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how you look at it, because some people think that it's like really ugly.
Yeah,
but again,
well, that's what I felt. And then when I was 18, I got into my like second sexual relationship, and I got a little heart tattoo. And suddenly I just started liking it. I was like, hey, like, I suddenly like my vagina.
Yeah, go vagina.
It was weird. It was like just some mental block I had in my head.
And it also, I mean, it's not really a block. It's like not knowing. Nobody talks about it. You don't really see that many vaginas. The vaginas you do see are the silly ones that are on porn. And not all vaginas look like that. And it doesn't mean to say you have to have a porn star vagina. Loving your vagina definitely comes with time, and it can't just be something that you can click your fingers. And it also really helps if a guy's really, really complimentative. Yeah. Especially if you know that they've slept with other people and they've looked at other vaginas. And I remember once that a guy went down on me and he was like, no, I really want to look at it. I want to look at it. And he actually took the time to look at it. And I felt so uncomfortable, but he was just like, you have a fucking beautiful vagina. I was like, oh God.
It's such a nice compliment when people say that.
So nice. Like, compliment vaginas. Don't be afraid to, because
really
even if the girl's shy about it, like, it makes her feel so much more confident about themselves.
Yeah, it really, really does. It's surprising.
I think it's only the age of sort of 22, 23, 24 now that I've really gone, you know what? It doesn't matter what my vagina looks like. Like, I love my vagina.
Yeah.
I want the whole world to see it, but not really the whole world, just a select few. Sex education does not prepare you for losing your virginity.
No.
It really doesn't. I remember having a terrible, terrible assembly with everybody in it, and they were sort of talking about tampons and toxic shock, which just, like, you know, frightened the hell out of me. I just remember being horrified at the idea of toxic shock, which completely took it away from the fact of I needed to be prepared for losing my virginity, and you only really hear it from your parents or your friends when they've lost it around you. I definitely didn't look it up.
I think something that sex education really lacks is making people feel comfortable with their own bodies.
Yeah, it makes it so clinical and, separate the boys from the girls, and it just makes it feels like school, and you don't want to pay attention to school. Nobody says having sex is fucking great, but it takes a bit of time to get there and to enjoy it and to be confident about
Plus,
it.
I don't think anyone ever says, like, in sex education, sex is great.
Yeah, nobody says it.
Sex has disease.
Yeah, diseases and pregnancy and condoms and contraception and all this stuff.
They talk about all the bad things about it.
Yeah, it's not very good, guys. Come on, pull your fingers out. We need better sex education, because we've also got young girls that are having a lot of sex and not doing it in the right way, or they don't know about condoms, and if you don't use a condom, even being on the pill, you can still get STIs and stuff.
Yeah, just need it all to be a lot clearer, I guess.
Yeah, and an honest opinion as well. You need someone to say, don't be scared of sex.
Yeah, not just like surgical, like this is genitals.
This is genitals.
This is protection.
Vagina,
this
penis.
is disease that you can get.
Don't listen to anybody, well, I don't know, this is difficult. I'd say don't listen to anybody that says you have to be 18. I think that's such a silly rule. Because, I mean, I just feel that, like, if you don't have it when you're ready, then you're missing out on all that time that you shouldn't be having it. And it makes sex into something that, like, if you have it before you're 18, it turns it into I can't tell anybody and my parents can't find out.
Yeah.
I think it's really unfair when parents say you're not allowed to have sex until you're 18. But a lot of people do it because...
I didn't tell my parents when I lost my virginity.
Yeah. A lot of people don't tell their parents. I definitely told mine, but that's because my mum said just have it when you're ready, doesn't matter in your age, and I ended up having it nearly 18 anyway, so...
She probably
doesn't
thought
matter.
you had it before.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Like, making sure that you're warmed up before you lose your virginity is really important.
Foreplay.
And it's really difficult doing it when you're drunk. When you're drunk, you're not as wet as you should be anyway, because it's the dehydration aspect. So if you're trying to have sex when you're drunk and you're both are drunk, I mean, it's a really good addition if you're really, really nervous about having sex, because alcohol does give you confidence, but for a girl it doesn't make you as lubricated, and the first time you have sex, I really think you should be
sober. I think you should
and warmed up.
I think you should be sober as well for your first time, because you want to remember it. Like, even if it is a weird experience, it's still like something you should remember, maybe.
Oh yeah, I was sober, but then again, I know girls that even now my age still can't have sex without being drunk, and it's really sad, but that is just a confidence issue. I believe that once your confidence is up, then... Yeah. I mean, sober sex is fucking great. Sober sex is so good. You feel so everything. I hate having drunk sex. I mean, drunk sex can be fun because you're all joking, giggly and flopping about. But afterwards you're just like, well, I didn't come. That wasn't pleasurable, really. That was terrible.
I probably embarrassed myself.
Probably, yeah. You never know. Fart might pop out and... could spray the wall with some diarrhea. No, that's awful. I'm so sorry. Don't do that when you're having sex. That's a bit of a turn off. For most people, but not for everyone. You don't have to have a boyfriend to lose your virginity.
No.
It's nicer, I'd say, because then you're kind of doing it together.
Yeah.
And you can learn from it as well. You can learn what each other likes, and
I did.
Yeah,
do
same
so with a boyfriend.
Yeah.
And it was my first love, so
yeah, and you
made it really special.
Yeah, you do really get into it. But if you do happen to lose your virginity, a one night stand, or you never speak to the guy again or anything like that, that's okay too. Like, as long as you make sure that it's your decision and at least have a bit of fun, have a good time, make it into a laugh, and also being honest about being a virgin as well. Because I know people that have lied about it, and afterwards they've been like, are you a virgin? It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
There's no harm in being honest about it.
No, it's not anything to be embarrassed about either.
Yeah. yeah, it doesn't matter on your age. There's nothing to be embarrassed about.
No.
Unless guys go a bit weird, like, and they find out you're a virgin, they're like, no, I don't want to do that. Then that's their problem. Like, no guy should have a real problem with taking somebody's virginity. It's something that's just got to be done, and you can do it in a really good way. You want their first time to be nice, and you don't want to leave that to somebody else, like a drunken fuck that's not ever going to call them again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we recommend, if you're going to lose your virginity, doing it with a boyfriend that you trust.
Yeah.
Or,
like, if you're into that, like, a really good friend.
Yeah, a really good friend as well.
That you're close with, I think.
That later on you can be like, oh my god, we lost our virginity together. Joke. I mean, if there's anything you want to ask us about virginities, doesn't matter on your age, even if you're really young, it's better to ask people first.
Yeah.
If you've got any queries at all, any worries, any concerns, or any good stories, we love hearing about the stories, then just, give us a shout.
Toodles again.
Bye. Toodles! Toodles! Poo on me!
Oh dear.